All right, good morning, rather, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we're going to begin with our expedited accusation calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. These are a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon after that, their cases were formally accused by the prosecutor, who is the Solicitor General of Fulton County. If you're a defendant who was recently charged with a misdemeanor offense or offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. When I call your case, we'll let you know what is your new accusation number, what are the charges brought against you, to give you a new court date if required, as well as to set a bond. Who are we going to begin with in courtroom 2?
Position number 1.
Okay. This is State versus Michael Edelman, accused of simple battery family violence. His accusation number is 24 CR 5191D. Mr. Edelman, this is a charge from July 26, 2024, and you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss
Yes.
Deborah Melnick. All right.
Yes. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Okay. Mr. Howard, I see there are 30 cycles. Anything else to add?
I got first arrest for Edelman.
Oh, maybe your notes. Okay, so this is a first arrest? Yep, you're right.
Yes.
Clark was 30. Sorry. Okay, got that. Miss Pope, what's your
Yes.
recommendation?
It's a $1,000 surety bond, no further violent contact with the victim, and anger management if the court so inclined. This incident happened on July 26, 2024, when officers responded to 590 Richmond Drive, Roswell, Georgia, in reference to a physical domestic. The caller was actually the defendant, Michael Edelman, who advised his wife was attacking him. The officer was familiar with the Edelmans as he had previously responded to their residence for a domestic dispute. The defendant claimed that his wife threw a toiletry bag at him. The officer spoke to the victim, Carly
Just one
Edelman.
second. Just one second, please. I'm sorry. Will the host please remove the gentleman who appeared on iPhone until he gets out of bed and gets dressed? I'm not sure where he normally appears in court, but that's not how you appear in court. Thank you. Sorry about that, Ms. Pope.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The officer spoke to Carly Edelman, the defendant's wife, who was visibly upset and crying. She explained that the defendant and she were in a verbal dispute. During the dispute, the defendant was face to face with her, and he pushed her with an open hand, at which point she did in turn throw the toiletry bag in order to create some distance between them. The defendant ultimately admitted that he pushed her with an open hand before the toiletry bag was thrown. The victim and the defendant are presently married and share a child together. Our office has had contact with the victim, who is presently staying with her parents, and provided some other information. I would ask that the court sound for Carly in accordance with Marcy's law.
I'm sorry, what's her name?
Carly Edelman.
All right, Carly Edelman. No? All right, Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, when I spoke to him, he does have a separate address that he was planning on moving to, which he can go stay there tonight, at 2400 Peachtree Road in Cumming, Georgia. He's a regional sales manager. If you look at the report, the complaining witness stated that he wants to file for divorce because of alleged marital problems, and he said that he did call the police because she was the one that was originally, as he said, escalating the situation. Where he does qualify for a UJR, so we are asking for a UJR on this case. He has no priors.
Bond is set at 1,500. It is a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No further contact with Carly. What was it? Carly Richmond?
Adelman, same last name.
Carly Edelman, excuse me. Carly Edelman. He is to update the court with his new address within 30 days. He's to stay away from the marital home unless, of course, the victim has vacated it, then he can return to the marital home. Otherwise, he can return there one time only with a police officer to retrieve his belongings. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and his next court date will be sent to his new address.
Thank you,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Edelman, you need to come back to court and make sure that we have your new address to wherever you move to. Unless, of course, your wife has vacated the marital home, then you can return there. But if she has not, then you would need to find a new location to live until further order of the court. Thank you.
And I may have missed it. Did the court have any conditions for the contact with the victim?
No
No,
further
you did say
contact and stay away unless the victim has vacated the marital home.
And they do have a child, a 3-year-old. I'm not sure if there's third-party transfer since there's no
I
further
understand that he'll be filing a divorce action, so right now I'll allow for a third-party transfer unless Superior Court sets forth a parenting plan.
Thank you.
All right, next case, please. Number 4. This is State versus DeQuavius Eads. Mr. Eads is accused of the following matter from a traffic incident from July 26, 2024. His accusation number is 24 CR 51908. He's got a window tint violation, a seatbelt violation. And then we get into giving false information to an officer, willful obstruction of an officer, and failure to have license on person. Mr. Eads, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Melnick.
Second arrest, 2020, fleeing an officer, Nolo, and the driving without valid license was dismissed
Okay,
with that arrest.
This incident happened on 7/26/2024. Officers observed the defendant traveling on Donald Lee Hollowell with the entire front windshield being tinted. Upon observing the violation, officers pulled over the vehicle. While speaking to the defendant, officers observed his seatbelt violation. He was asked for his driver's license, at which point he indicated he did not have it on his person. The defendant lied multiple times when asked for his name. He provided the name Daquious Eads the first time, then Daquaous Eads the second time, and the last time Daquivous. The officer completed multiple inquiry checks and realized that he was lying about his name. At that point, he attempted to detain him. The defendant snatched away and resisted the arrest with a short struggle. He also, a short foot chase ensued before he was detained. The state's recommendation on the tint is UJR pretrial level 1, seatbelt violation, UJR pretrial level 1, giving false name to officer, $1,000 surety bond, obstruction of an officer, $1,000 surety bond, no license on person, UJR pretrial level 1. And the surety bond is being requested because of the prior fleeing and attempting to elude similar-ish facts to what we have in the present case.
all right, Ms. Melnick, any issue with the split bond?
Just to clarify, you asked for a surety bond of 1,000 on the obstruction. Is that what I heard?
It was a 2,000 total, 1,000 on the obstruction and 1,000 on the giving false name.
I am on the obstruction. I do not have I'm not have objections to it, but on the name, I tried several times. Is a unique spelling of the name. You would think there would be an I in there, and so I would ask because it's QUV. I had a hard time when I was trying to put it in to find him. Eventually had to go in by the bookend number. Given that, I would ask for UJR on that charge as well.
On the window tint violation is 500, seatbelt violation is 500. Giving false information, he needs to spend some time learning how to spell his name. That's going to be 500. And the failure to have license on person is 500. That's a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. On the willful obstruction of an officer, that's $1,000 surety. So it's a total of a $3,000 split. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license stuck on his person whenever he operates a vehicle. adequate insurance and proper registration. Next court date will be, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Is it Mr. Jordan or Miss Champion?
It's Miss Champion. It's going to be August the 8th, Your Honor.
August the 8th, all right? So it's a $3,000 split bond, and next court date's August 8th, unless he makes bond, then we will send him his notice and to his address.
Position number 6.
We have Mr. Haven Hare, accused of simple battery and disorderly conduct from July 26th of this year, case 24 CR 5197Y. Mr. Hare, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Melnick. Mr. Howard, is it 37 cycles or?
Correct. 2019 criminal damage to property on probation for that out Rockdale County. 2018 I think it may be dealing with a CWAC charge. That's out of state though. 2016 trespass conviction and a drug conviction from 2013.
Thank you. Ms. Pope?
Yes, this incident took place on July 27, 2024, when officers responded to Taco Mac restaurant to meet with an employee at 875 North Main Street in Alpharetta, Fulton County, Georgia.
All right. Come up here, your name.
I'm sorry, who was that? That was the deputy. That's all right, Ms. Pope, you may proceed.
Okay. The employee stated that the defendant spit in his face. Roger Obermeyer stated that a male came into the restaurant yelling racial slurs and pointing at patrons. The defendant yelled the N-word several times. Obermeyer got in between the manager and the defendant because he didn't want the defendant to hit the manager when she asked him to leave. Once he got in between them, the defendant put his hands up into a fist and then spit into Mr. Obermeyer's face, which was witnessed by Joanna Powell. The state is asking for $2,500 surety bond on each count for a total of $5,000 surety bond. Stay away from 875 North Main Street, Alpharetta, Georgia. No further contact with Roger Obermeyer and Joanna Powell. There were multiple other convictions in addition to the ones that were identified by Mr.
Yes,
Howard. Some of them are much older, but I want to
I've
just
seen those, but I just need what is relevant to what we're dealing with today. Anything else, Ms. Pope?
no, that's all.
Thank you. Ms. Melanie?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, basically, he's on disability for bipolar, which I think it's not an excuse, but it can explain some of his behavior. I wanted to get to his NAVCare records and maybe order some and see possibly speak for the state about referring him to mental health court at some point in the future. But for today, he does have a place to go at 316 Peter Street in Atlanta, Georgia. And we would ask for the court to consider this.
All right. On the simple battery is 1,000. On the disorderly conduct is 1,000. His total bond is a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with the Mr. Obermeyer and Joanne, what was it?
Joanna Powell.
Joanna Powell. And to stay 200 yards away from the Taco Mac restaurant at 875 North Main Street in Alpharetta, Georgia. If he returns to that location, he will be arrested again and his surety bond will be revoked. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And his next court date is going to be August 8th.
Position number 13, Mr. Ponder.
Your Honor, if possible, could they also bring up Mr. Ruben St. Hilaire? They are both co-defendants on this case.
Okay. Deputy, is it possible to bring both gentlemen up?
Time it up now.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I have two cases in front of us today. First one is Derek Antoine Ponder, accused of criminal trespass, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and two counts of willful obstruction of an officer from July 26, 2024. Mr. Ponder, please raise your right hand. All right, you may put your hand down. Thank you. And his accusation number is 24 CR 5193H. I have a cross defendant, Mr. Ruben St. Hilaire, accused of criminal trespass from July 26, 2024, and his accusation is 24 CR 5194H, and he's the gentleman in the sleeveless gray top. With regards to both cases, you've been advised, both of you have been advised of your right to remain silent. Mr. Ponder, your attorney is going to be, is it going to be Miss Melnick? Oh, Miss Rosenhuber? Okay.
Your Honor, actually, both of these cases are conflict cases. Our office has another client who was also involved in this, who's charged with the felony. So
Okay.
I ended up conflicting out of both of these.
All right. And Miss McLeod, who is your client?
Well, I actually spoke with both of them. I didn't know they were cross defendants. I thought they were co-defendants.
Oh,
They are co-defendants.
I'm
That is
sorry,
correct.
I miscoded. They were co-defendants. You're right. And did you want to represent both of them, or is that going to be a conflict?
Well, I spoke to them, and based on what they told me, it doesn't seem like there was a conflict because they weren't asserting anything which would necessarily incriminate the other one.
At this juncture, just on a brief reading of the warrants, I don't see a conflict, so I'll permit you to move forward with representing both of them. But down the road, if it turns out that it may be, you would have to withdraw from one of them and a C3 would have to be appointed. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Howard, with regards to Mr. Ponder,
8 total. 2020 disorderly conduct conviction. 2019 obstruction conviction. 2018 obstruction no-low.
that's good. And what about Saint Hilaire?
56 total. Then he got a current probation hold. He's on probation for identity theft fraud. 23 SC 186209. 2022 shoplifting conviction.
Oh,
20
that's good. Thank you so much. All right. And Miss Folk, what is your recommendation for both of them?
Your Honor, as to this case, just very briefly, this happened at the court Lindbergh at 741 Morosco Drive. The officers arrived at that location, talked to Trina Bell, who stated that no one should be in her residence at 1655. She had actually been there on July 6th and hadn't physically been in the residence since then. The officers knocked on the door. The defendant, Mr. St. Hilaire, answered the door and stated that the resident allowed him to stay there and was helping her move, and he was helping her move. Miss Bell reiterated she didn't know anybody by that name. The male was not supposed to be there. And then at that point, the defendant was detained. While he was being detained, 2 more males and a female came out of the apartment. Derek Ponder, one of the co-defendants who came out of the apartment, then backed up and ran away from the officer, had to be detained. It took approximately 15 minutes to find him. He was found in the street hiding behind the dumpster and was arrested. Miss Bell did state in the warrant that she had approximately $12,000 to $14,000 worth of cosmetics from different vendors. She is a hairstylist by trade, so these were the tools of her trade that had been taken from her apartment, as well as a small gray Louis Vuitton purse and a gray sofa that had been removed from her apartment. I will say the state did attempt to transfer this case and the transfer was denied. We did attempt to transfer that as a burglary case. We are asking on this case for a $10,000 surety bond on Mr. Ruben St. Hilaire, a stay away from court at Lindbergh at 741 Morosco Drive. No further contact with Trina Bell, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. As to Mr. Ponder, we are requesting a $5,000 surety bond. That is split $3,000 as to the criminal trespass. $1,000 is to each of the obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Same conditions of stay away from court Lindbergh at 741 Morosco Drive. No further contact with Trina Bell, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Bell. She has lived in the apartment for 7 years. She stated her car has been broken into approximately 10 times, and that she had not been home for 2 weeks because she was traveling. She stated she feels that the defendant told maintenance he was helping her move and acted like he knew her, and she was very afraid because of that and would like a no contact and a stay away order. That is all for the state. We would like to sound for Miss Trina Bell.
Trina Bell? No, no one. Okay, Miss McLeod, who would you like to address first?
Let's address Mr. Hilaire
All right.
first, Mr. St. Hilaire. My client is 48 years old. He tells me that he is currently homeless. He does work, but he really doesn't have a lot of money to pay bond. So a surety bond of any sort is essentially going to be no bond for him, Your Honor. We understand that he does have some history, but this is a situation where he was just trying to find some shelter. So I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond so he can get out of jail. We are okay with the no contact with the alleged victim and a stay away from the location where this is stated to have occurred. Nothing further on Mr. St. Hilaire, Your Honor.
All right. And what about Mr. Ponder?
I would definitely ask a signature bond for Mr. Ponder. He is 35 years old, has no significant criminal history, Your Honor. And he also tells me that he is struggling. He is currently unemployed.
Mhm.
So he's not in a position to pay bond.
Mhm.
Nothing.
On Mr. Ponder, it's going to be a $3,000 surety bond. On Mr. St. Hilaire, it's going to be a $3,500 surety bond. Both cases are going to be reset to August 8th. No further contact with Trina Bell, to stay 500 yards away from the complex known as the Core at Lindbergh at 741 Morosco Drive, including every single apartment at that location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and we'll see them on the 8th of August. Thank you.
Can you repeat the bonds again, please?
3,000, 1,000 on each count for Mr. Ponder, and 3,500 on the trespass charge with regards to Mr. St. Hilaire.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
And Your Honor, just to make sure I heard that correctly, you did order no further contact as well?
No contact with Trina Bell and to stay away from the entire complex.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No one-time visits or anything like that.
Position number 8 is next, Mr. Hayward.
No, get out of that. Same for everyone position.
This is David Dion Salahuddin Haywood, accused of criminal trespass from case 24 CR 5196C. Mr. Haywood, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Melnick. Mr. Howard, do I have 6 cycles?
6 total. Open case out of Brookhaven for hindering 911 call, giving false name, possession of drug-related objects, possession of meth. You have the FTA from this year. And the bond assessment said something about felony obstruction. It's a 23 MAGC, but I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, I didn't see anything move forward from that case, so
Yeah.
we'll keep it at that. Ms. Pope?
Yes, this incident took place on July 26, 2024. Officers responded to 3093 Washington Road, East Point, Georgia, in reference to a fight call. Upon arrival, officers attempted to speak to someone in the residence, but no one came to the door. Although the officers could hear people speaking or whispering inside the apartment. She was the girlfriend of the defendant. She further indicated they had been arguing due to the defendant being upset about her turning on the lights to get ready for the day. The victim stated in order to prevent the argument from getting physical, she barricaded herself in the bathroom, at which point the defendant kicked the door in, causing damage to the door and door frame. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with Anita Rollins, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Stay away from 3093 Washington Road, East Point, Georgia.
Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, when I spoke to him, he does have another address at 538 Foundry Street in Atlanta, Georgia. He does work at Marksman Security, and we would ask for the court to consider this in setting a bond that he can meet.
Just 1 second, please. I think we have got an FTA and an open case. 23 CR 007123C. For Mr. Haywood, in which he's accused of loitering and prowling and willful obstruction from November 15th, 2023. There is a bond forfeiture. He did not appear for court. on May 24th, 2024, before Judge Dixon. For this particular matter, his bond is going to be set at 1,500. It is a surety bond. Case is going to be reset to August 8th. No contact with Miss Anita Rollins, and to stay away from the location on Washington Road and East Point. Both cases are going to be addressed at the SAP calendar, which is this new case, N23CR 007123C. Do you have that, Ms. Champion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. That concludes this case.
Number 15, Tripp.
This is State versus, Shaki Tripp, accused of battery from July 14th, 2024. Mr. Tripp, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Rosenhuber. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
I'm gonna defer to the state. They gave me an incomplete history.
Okay.
All right. So currently he is on a $1,000 SOB through the jail for a giving false name arrest on March 27th of 2024. I can give Your Honor that case number in a moment. It is 24 CR.
Oh, I have it. 24
Okay.
CR 1512. Yeah.
Yep. The defendant also has in his history, let's see. We are looking at, he is a multi-state offender. He has arrests out of North Carolina. Most recent arrest was 2014, which was an extradition fugitive arrest. Actually, that is incorrect. He also was incarcerated for extradition fugitive arrest. That was July 3rd of 2014. Additionally, we are showing he has an arrest out of New Jersey from April 4th of 2010 for, it looks like, simple assault. And I believe he was convicted of that offense. He has a history out of Virginia, several arrests in that jurisdiction. The most recent was a 2015 disorderly conduct. And then his history here in Georgia amounts to 6 cycles, it appears. And the most recent arrest in that case is his criminal trespass, where he received 12 months served 45 days, July 2nd of 2024 in Clayton County State Court, which was 20 days before this incident, a probation violation in 2024 out of Clayton County, where he received 60 days confinement, a giving false name where he pled nolo May 1st of 2024, approximately 2.5 months ago, again in Clayton County, and a simple battery in Clayton County, February 27th of 2024, approximately 5 months ago, where he received 12 months probation, 30 days confinement.
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
In this incident, Your Honor, the defendant got into a physical altercation with, let me just make sure I'm on the right case, got into a physical altercation with Yvonne Phillips. Ms. Phillips stated that she had observed the defendant across the street at the Shell gas station at 1338 Virginia Avenue. And the officer then relocated to that location and made contact with the defendant, who was irate and refusing to cooperate with the officer. The officer then did a show up with Ms. Phillips, who stated that was the defendant. He grabbed her by her hair and pulled it until it ripped out of her head, causing lacerations to her head. It is unclear whether these two were familiar with each other. I'm taking it by the show up they may not have been. We did attempt to call Miss Yvonne Phillips, but were unable to reach her given the short time frame. However, we are asking that the $5,000 surety bond, which is set on the defendant, remain as set, and that there additionally be no further contact with Miss Yvonne Phillips. We would like to sound for her at this time in accordance with Marcy's law.
Ms. Yvonne Phillips? All right, Ms. Rosenhuber?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Tripp advised me that he wouldn't be able to make any bond at all. I understand He has an extensive criminal history, but at this point, Judge, I can just ask for the lowest bond that the court is willing to allow.
Okay, thank you. Bond is set at 2,500. It is going to be a surety bond to have no contact with Yvonne Phillips, stay away from the Shell gas station at 1325 Virginia Avenue in East Point. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And his next court date will be August 8th. Thank you. Oh, and I guess we'll address his other case as well, Ms. Champion. Both cases will be addressed at SAP. And the other one is 24 CR 001 512F.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you. All right. I think as soon as courtroom 2 is ready, we'll be able to, ACDC, who do you have, please?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. This is going to be position number 5, Miss Griggs.
All right. This is an announcement for all the ladies at ACDC. Good afternoon. My name is Judge Law. We'll be addressing your cases on a one-on-one basis. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent during the course of this recorded and live stream proceeding. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. We have Miss Lakeisha Kenyatta Griggs, position number 5 on our calendar, accusation 24 CR 51928. Ms. Griggs is accused of theft by taking from February 14th, 2024. Mr. Howard, is it 18 cycles or did I miswrite that?
Correct. 2024 probation for ag assault. 3 2023 probation violations. 2018 FTA, 2016 possession of cocaine conviction, 2016 ag assault conviction, and 2014 trespass no-law.
Thank you. Ms. Pope?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place on February 14, 2024. Officers responded to 3819 Jonesboro Road Southwest in reference to a theft. Ram Buka, who was the cashier, advised that he locked the store in order to empty out the money from the gaming machines. While doing so, an unknown Black female wearing a red wig and green pants walked out of the bathroom and took $785 from a chair. This was captured on video footage. Upon further investigation, Officer Raymond viewed the video and photo of the suspect and recognized her as Lakeisha Griggs from a previous arrest. The state's recommendation is $2,500 surety bond. Stay away from 3819 Jonesboro Roads, Atlanta, Georgia.
Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, this incident did take place back in February. And we have not seen the video of it, but she does have an address and she's willing to stay away from that address. She was able to live at 1612 Gardenwood Court in College Park. She does have a daughter, 20 years old, that she also helps support.
Okay. Bond is set at 1,500. It's going to be a surety bond. Stay away from the 3819 Jonesboro Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Have no contact with any of the staff at that location. This is a business, isn't it, Ms. Pope?
Yes.
Okay. And no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. At her next court date is going to be August 8th, unless she bonds out. Next case.
Position 9, Ms. Johnson.
Ms. Kenosha Johnson is accused of battery family violence from July 25th, 2024. Her accusation number is 24 CR 5198J. And Deputy in courtroom 2, whenever you're ready, I'll jump back to courtroom 2. But in the meantime, Ms. Johnson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Rosenhuber. Any priors, please?
4 total. 2021 battery DV, reduced to disorderly conduct conviction. 2017 shoplifting conviction, wanted out of Clayton County.
Ms. Pope?
This incident took place on July 25th, 2024. Officer Glover was dispatched to 3225 Spanish Trail, Apartment 5, East Point, in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arriving, officer spoke to the victim, Mr. Berry. He was outside and he had lacerations with blood on his upper right chest, right side of his face, near his nose, right arm, and lower right back side of back. He stated he woke up and asked his girlfriend a question about infidelity. He said that the victim began punching him in his face and began to continuously hit him before running in the kitchen. The state is asking for a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with the defendant, Cardarius Berry. If the victim, Cardarius Berry, and if the victim still resides at the incident location, the state is requesting a stay away.
Is there a Cardarius Berry on the Zoom? Or was that the gentleman that I removed from the Zoom? Okay. Ms. Rosenhuber?
Thank you, Judge. To begin, Ms. Johnson did advise that the incident location is her apartment. Her name is the only one on the lease. She resides there with her 6-year-old daughter. However, if the court does order a stay away, she can go and stay with her mom here in Atlanta if need be. She has a good job working security at one of the parking garages at the Atlanta airport. She graduated high school in 2018 and is currently enrolled at UEI, pursuing a career as a medical assistant, and she attends classes twice a week. Judge, she's born and raised here in Georgia. She's not a flight risk. We would ask for a bond not to exceed $1,000.
All right. She's away. She's got a Clayton County hold.
I believe so, Judge. Yes.
Okay. On the present charge, it's going to be a $2,000 surety bond. No contact with Mr. Cardarius Berry. She's to stay away from 3225 Spanish Trail, the apartment complex. She's allowed a one-time visit to the location to retrieve her daughter and any property, and also to verify if Mr. Berry has vacated the premises. If he has vacated the premises, then she may reoccupy the apartment. Otherwise, she'll have to update the court with her new address. I think you said with her mother?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So if Mr. Berry has vacated the premises, then she may return, but if he's not, then she'll need to live elsewhere until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And her next court date will be August 8th. Of course, if she makes bond, then she's only to be released to the Clayton hold.
Next, Judge, this will be position number 16, Ms. Waxer.
Kathleen Waxer is accused of battery from July 25th, 2024. Her case number is 24CR 5128C. Ms. Waxer, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Rosenhuber. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
7, 2023, disorderly conduct, NOLO. 2011 FTA.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at 12:56 a.m. at 655 Ethel Street Southwest. The victim in this case, Brittany Holmes, works at the Atlanta Mission, where she was, the defendant began yelling for medication. Ms. Holmes stated she needed to go upstairs. The defendant then became angry, screaming and yelling at the employees, tried to throw a cup of water on Ms. Holmes. Another employee, Shaquilla Galloway, stopped this, and the defendant was then asked to leave the property and refused. Ms. Holmes and Ms. Galloway then attempted to pick the defendant up and physically remove her from the property. And in trying to remove the defendant, Ms. Holmes, the defendant began struggling and fighting, and Ms. Holmes was scratched on her arm and had a gash on her left ring finger. We did have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Holmes. She stated that the defendant had only been at that location for 12 hours when this happened. She stated that the defendant had been placed out of the location, is not permitted to return, and that all of her belongings have been removed from the property, so there is no need for a one-time police escort. The bond is currently set at $5,000. We're asking that the bond remain as set. We are also asking for a stay away from the Atlanta Mission at 655 Ethel Street Southwest. No further contact with Brittany Holmes. or Miss Shaquilla Galloway, that is Shequilla Galloway, common spelling. We're also requesting an MHET or a BHET, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We would like to sound for Miss Shaquilla Galloway and Miss Brittany Holmes at this time.
Yeah, I see a Brittany on Zoom. I don't see a Miss Galloway. If anyone would like to chime in, this would be the time to start your video and your audio. No? Okay. Miss Rosenhoven?
Thank you, Judge. Miss Waxer is 55 years old. She has been in custody a few days now due to medical reasons. She very clearly has some mental health concerns and needs that we believe may have been the cause of this incident, Judge. She has two grown children that live here in Alpharetta. She previously worked in IT and digital marketing. She has her bachelor's degree. She graduated high school. She's just really struggling with mental health right now. It's my understanding this did happen at Atlanta Mission. She understands she cannot return, but she does face challenges with her current residence. Just so the court's aware, I already did refer her to a social worker. But just to facilitate some ease of being able to get her into another program that can address those needs, we would ask for a reduced bond to not exceed $2,500.
Bond is set at $2,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Brittany Holmes and Shaquilla Galloway, and of course, stay away from the Atlanta Mission at 65. Was it 6555? Ethel Street in Southwest Atlanta?
It's, yes, 655 Ethel Street, Southwest.
655, okay. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and to comply with all MH treatment and medication that she either is receiving or that she will receive. If she is released on bond, she's required to come down to court and update her mailing address in writing, her new mailing address in writing, since she's not allowed to reside at the Atlanta Mission. Ms. Waxer, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case.
Hey, can I just apologize to her?
You may, Ms. Rosenhuber?
Ms. Waxer, at this time, I'd advise that you don't say anything about your case, or I would advise you not today, okay?
If you have anything to say, you may repeat that to your attorney when you meet, and then she can transmit any messages. Miss Brittany, are you Brittany Holmes? Okay, I can't hear you. All right, when she...
Yes, hello?
All right, Miss Holmes, Miss Waxer has received a $2,500 surety bond. Her next court date is August 8th. She's required to stay away from you, from Miss Galloway, and from the Atlanta Mission.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you. You're free to go. Next case, please. I'm in courtroom 2 right now. Deputy Moulton, I'll be back with you. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Position number 2. Cook.
This is State versus Eric Cook, case 24 CR 5199D. Mr. Cook, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be, I think, Miss Melnick. Unless there's some, okay.
Your Honor, sorry.
No problem. Just wanted to be sure.
Yes, you're correct.
And Mr. Cook has been accused of theft by receiving stolen property from July 26, 2024. Any priors? I've got 8 cycles. Would that be correct, Mr. Howard?
Yes.
All right.
Lost 2018 trespass out of Vegas, 2016 battery. Appears to be homeless.
Okay, thank you. Miss Pope?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place on July 26, 2024, when Deputy R. Eason from the Fulton County Sheriff's Department was advised of an unknown black male that someone at the corner of Central Avenue and MLK was waving a gun. Eason responded to the location and made contact with the defendant. He was not waving the gun at that time, but he did still have it in his possession. He also stated that he found the gun on the ground at an unknown location near Central Avenue. GCIC, NCIC, they completed that, and the handgun came back as stolen from the Georgia World Congress Center Police Department. the state's recommendation was UJR, jail, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition.
Yes, Your Honor.
And-
We also, there's no warrant. I did not see a warrant on this case, an arrest warrant. I didn't think the jail accepted anyone.
I didn't think so either, but Miss Pope?
There was a citation,
Okay,
apparently.
and he'll be Riverside by Monday.
Right. So, but we have no objection to the UJR, the state.
Mr. Cook, your bond is gonna be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. You are to not possess any firearms and not carry any firearms or not hold any firearms. If you get arrested again for anything else, spitting on a sidewalk, jaywalking, I don't care. If you get arrested for anything else, we will welcome you back with open arms, and that $5,000 bond will convert to a cash bond only. And the state is on notice. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the statute. But I don't believe a theft by receiving stolen property firearm is a misdemeanor charge.
The state is aware, based on the facts, we move forward the way that we did.
All right. I mean,
Okay.
I can't control the warrants, but
Sure.
I haven't seen a change in the law, so hopefully someone will be able to nip this in the bud, because this is the second warrant I've seen in less than a month with a firearm and a misdemeanor charge.
It was actually charged as a theft by lost or mislaid property. And I
Just
think maybe that
FYI.
can be, I
Just
got you.
FYI. I mean, I'm
Okay.
not going to tell you all how to accuse your cases. I'm just a little perplexed.
I
Next
got
case,
you.
please. All right, ACD courtroom 2 has
Yes, Judge Law, I do have a quick question. This is Francois. This is not Miss Milton.
no. You're at ACDC? Okay, all right. Francois, welcome back for Saturday. How can I help you?
Thank you. It's gonna be Trinice Taylor. She's actually not on the calendar, so I wanted to make sure was her charges dismissed.
No,
Your Honor,
I can
I'll-
speak to that.
let me let PDU Rosenhuber go ahead and explain.
Yes, so I asked ACDC to give me a call back so I could speak with Miss Taylor, but this case is being referred to the diversion program. I have not had an opportunity yet to talk to her about it. I think ACDC has tried to call me since I've been in court, but I just need an opportunity to discuss that with her, and I can get that form submitted.
Whenever you have the opportunity, we can give you a call, Miss Rosenhuber.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Did you want to do it now, Francois? Or did you want to wait till she goes and meet with them? I mean, I can put them in a breakout.
She can call now, and then the other cases for Miss Melnick, they can proceed on with Miss Melnick's cases while Miss Rosenhuber talks to Miss Taylor.
Can you put in the chat to directly to Rosenhuber? What is Sarah Rosenhuber? What's the phone number she should call? Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Francois. Now, that's a rare sighting to see Francois back in the jail, so thank you.
I'm back. I'll be helping out Miss Milton. I'll be over here.
Thank you. All right, courtroom 2, who do we have?
The remaining cases that I have here in the courtroom are Rosenhuber. This is position number 10.
All right, Ms. Rosenhuber, unfortunately, I still have to
Your
address.
Honor, I'm sorry, we have, I have two, Diallo and, Hartsfield.
They're not in the courtroom, they waivers.
Okay, let Rosenhuber go ahead and talk. Well,
I
Ms.
didn't follow.
Rosenhuber, yeah, let me, I want to close out courtroom 2, Ms. Rosenhuber, so hold off on your call. All right, so we have position number 10, who is Darren Keno, accused of simple battery, 24 CR 5202G from July 7th, 2024. Mr. Keno, you've got a been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Rosenhuber. Mr. Howard, 15 cycles?
Correct. Resident of Sacramento, 2020 child abuse battery dismissed, 2011 FTA probation.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened at the 1070 Mason Turner Road Northwest. That's a rooming home. The defendant occupied room 11 while the victim in this case, Africa Fulton, that is Afreeca, occupies room 6. She stated that they were in a relationship, they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and she was assaulted by him because he felt disrespected. There had been a verbal altercation, and then he physically pushed her in the kitchen of that location. She stated she did suffer slight swelling to the side, but that was not observed by the officers, and so therefore it was charged as a simple battery. The reason it wasn't charged as family violence is because it is a rooming house and they do not technically live together. I would state that she did identify the defendant, and he did admit to placing his hands on her and pushing her on July 25th, 2024, when officers spoke with him. We are asking for a $2,500 surety bond, which is what the surety bond is already set at, that it remain as set. Stay away from 1070 Mason Turner Road, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no further contact with Africa Fulton. We would like to sound from Ms. Fulton. We did attempt to contact her, but given the short time frame, we're not able to get in touch with her.
Ms. Fulton? All right, Ms. Rosenhuber?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Keno does have a new address that is his current address in Odyssey. He moved out, I believe, after this incident happened. I think we're looking at about 20 days in between when this happened, allegedly, and then the date of his arrest. So he'd have no problem staying away. He does have a good job working as a ramp agent for Delta. He's held that position for the past 2 years. He does also contribute to child support. Your Honor, he's 49 years old, high school graduate, completed some college. We would ask the bond amount, however, to be reduced to $1,000 so that he can get out and maintain that job.
All right. Bond is set at $2,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No further contact with Africa Fulton. Stay away from 1070 Mason Turner Road in Atlanta. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and to attend and complete one anger awareness program with the pretrial services. He must report to pretrial once a month. If he gets arrested again for anything else, his bond will be revoked and converted to a cash or surety bond. Thank you.
Judge.
Yeah, good judge.
Once a month, how about?
Number 12, Middlebrooks.
This is Tyrone Bernard Middlebrooks Jr., accused of battery, family violence from July 16th, 2024. Mr. Middlebrooks, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Rosenhuber. And your accusation. I'm sorry. Oh, is Ms. McLeod? Sorry about that.
Yes,
Your attorney is Ms. McLeod, and your accusation is 24 CR 5189E. I didn't catch the GCIC on this one, Mr. Howard. What's his priors?
For 2023 obstruction. Got an open case out of Clayton County for obstruction. Seatbelt violation, reckless driver. 2020 possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. That was dismissed. And a 2017 marijuana.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Falk? I'm sorry, you're on mute.
Okay, I'm back. This incident happened at, let's see, 369 Centennial Olympic Park in Atlanta on July 16th. Officers responded to that location, talked to Miss Ty Smith. Miss Smith stated that the defendant, who is her ex-boyfriend with whom she also shares a child and lives together with, that he came to the residence regarding spending time with their child. She advised that he attempted to get back together with her. She refused. And at that point, he grabbed her phone, grabbed her face, and tried to use her face as identification to unlock the phone. He then proceeded to ask, "Who you fucking?" During the duration of the incident. She knocked the cell phone out of his hand, and he threw her to the couch and began violently punching her in the eye, face, back of the head, and neck area. The officers did observe visible swelling to this victim, redness and bruising to her eye and her chin. We did have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith stated that she and the defendant were together for 2 years. They have one child together. She stated that they do not reside together and they do have DV history, and she has filed for a TPO. She further stated the defendant has been abusing her and their son, and she is afraid of him. She stated he has threatened her and their son with a gun prior to this incident. She confirmed the events in the warrant, stated she went to the hospital for her injuries. We did receive hospital records from her that show she was treated at the hospital for several contusions. She also stated that she was told by the doctor she had some internal bleeding. She stated that she's been getting threatening calls and text messages since the defendant was arrested, and she is insistent on having a no further contact with both her and her child, CM, and to stay away from 369 Centennial Olympic Park Drive. I understand the defendant does not have an extensive history, but given the facts of this case, also given the fact that he was previously arrested for an incident involving a firearm, the state is very concerned for the safety of Ms. Smith. Therefore, for that reason, we are requesting a $10,000 surety bond. We're also asking for no further contact with Ty Smith and her child, CM. Stay away from 369 Centennial Olympic Park Drive, Family Violence Intervention Program, that the defendant surrender any and all firearms to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office immediately, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. At this time, we would like to sound for Ms. Ty Smith.
I do see a Miss T. Smith. Miss Smith, if you'd like to contribute to these proceedings, you can start your video and audio. Otherwise, we will move on. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Miss Smith. You will.
I don't have anything to say. I just want to make sure that the TPO was served to him and that he stay away from me and my son until the courts figure it out.
You may mute your screen. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 25 years old. He denies the allegations in the warrant, Your Honor. And I'd just like the court to know that she has an outstanding case in which my client was the victim. My client has no significant criminal history at all, based on what I heard from pretrial. They do not live together. He has a completely different address. I believe it was stated that the argument started because he wanted to spend time with his son. Had they lived together, there would be no need for him to want to spend time with his son. So they definitely do not live together, and they are not in a relationship, but they do share this child who is important to my client. So I would ask that any kind of conditions of my client's bond, and I would request a signature bond for him because he has no convictions whatsoever on his record. I would ask a signature bond for him that any conditions be no further contact with the alleged victim. That is fine, but he should be able to have contact with his child, even if it's going to be through a third party. Nothing further, Your Honor.
The bond is going to be set at $5,000. This is going to be a surety bond. Next court date is going to be August 8th. He's to have no further contact with Ty Jalen Kadai Smith, no further contact with the child or children that he shares with Ms. Smith. If he wishes to have any contact with the child or children that he shares with her, he must file a separate legitimation action in the appropriate superior court and get a court order to establish joint visitation, joint custody, and child support. He's not allowed to, he's required to stay away from the Centennial Park Olympic Park location, which is 369 Centennial Olympic Park. He's required to stay 500 yards away from that location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and definitely no weapons and no firearms. Any firearms or guns that he possesses must be surrendered to the local authorities for destruction. His next court date is August 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. McLeod. Thank you. Take care.
You too. Thanks.
All right, courtroom 2, who do we have?
This is number 17, Williams.
Judge, this is going to be my case, but if I can interrupt, we were able to speak with Miss Taylor and I got that diversion agreement sent. Will there be a signature bond on this case so she can head on out?
Any objection, Ms. Falk? I'm sorry, you're on mute.
The state's recommendation is going to be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Gerard Reedy, JERRODREEDY, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Rosenhuber, will you be submitting the proposed bond order?
I can, Judge. I just might not be able to do it right now, but I can send that over.
Just send it directly to, because I don't have the case information, it's not on the docket. So you need to send it to April Champion once you've got it drafted. As soon as
Okay.
it's drafted, then filed, then she'll be able to be released to the division to complete the division conditions.
Okay, thank you,
Please make a
Judge.
note that her address has to be updated at all times.
Yes, Your Honor.
Courtroom 2, okay, are we ready to proceed with Jamon Williams? Are you Mr. Williams? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. This is State versus Jamon Williams, case 24 CR 5201G. Mr. Williams is accused of criminal trespass from July 26, 2024. And Francois, we are done with Miss Taylor. She's going to be released on a signature bond through the jail to do her diversion conditions.
Okay, thank you so much, Judge.
All right, Mr. Williams, you have a criminal trespass charge and any priors, Mr. Howard?
33. The last few arrests was for dumping waste, biomedical or hazardous waste. One of them open case 23 CP 215450. 2019 FTA, 2017 disorderly conduct conviction. 2017 FTA, 2016 probation, 2014 FTA, and a 2012 disorderly conduct conviction.
All right, thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. So similar to that 23 CP case, on July 26, 2024, the defendant entered the Sloppy Floyd Towers building at 200 Piedmont Avenue and had deposited biohazardous waste at the entryway of that location. Surveillance cameras did show him attempting to leave the premises, and he was arrested for trespassing on state property, being that he had been previously warned that leaving packages of this nature was unwelcome and that his behavior was unwelcome as well as his presence. The state is requesting a $1,000 surety bond, stay away from Sloppy Floyd Towers located at 200 Piedmont Avenue, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We're also going to request an MHET or a BHET. There seems to be some underlying issues that's causing him to compulsively leave biomedical waste at different locations on the Capitol premises. And I am just concerned that there may be an underlying MH issue here. That's all for the state.
Ms. Rosenhuber?
Yes, Judge. So, Mr. Williams, just to first address Ms. Folk's last point, he does have a diagnosis of bipolar disorder that he is being medicated for. Judge, he has lived in Georgia his entire life. He graduated high school. He completed 2 years of college. He's been working at First Step Staffing for the past several years now. So I would agree with Ms. Folk that there may be something else that needs to be addressed. So Judge, we would, and he's not able to make much of any bond. So we would ask for the lowest bond that the court would be willing to offer him.
The bond's going to be set at $2,000. It's going to be a surety bond. Next court date is August 8th. He's to stay away 200 yards away from the Sloppy Floyd building. He's actually required to stay away from all government buildings unless he has a legal or an official reason to enter such a building. He's not allowed to bring onto any of these premises any kind of biomedical or human waste items onto these premises. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons, and he must comply with all MH treatment and medication. Thank you.
Number 11, no.
This is State versus Renita Lowe. Ms. Lowe is accused of criminal trespass. and her new case number is 24 CR 5188C. This alleged incident is from July 26, 2024. Ms. Lowe, you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything that you say about the facts of a case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Presently, you have Ms. Sarah Rosenhuber, who will be your attorney. I believe Ms. Lowe has an excess of 60 cycles, so I'll go straight to the case. Ms. Fall?
Yes, Your Honor. I will point out that the defendant was actually recently sentenced on 24 CR 003079D. In that case, she was at the same location, which is 387 Cleveland Avenue Southwest, which is Tacos El Gallo. She was, as a part of that sentence, which was on May 28th, 2024, and was issued by Your Honor, she was given 12 months, served 2 days, served 4 days, credit for time served 2 days, and that the rest was suspended upon her stay away from 387 Cleveland Avenue. So that was May 28th. This incident happened less than a month later on 2 months later, on July 26, 2024, she was at 387 Cleveland Avenue, Tacos El Gallo. She went to that location, was harassing the coworkers and customers inside the establishment. She was asked to leave the property, refused. The hired security guard arrived on the scene and provided the officers with a case number that showed that she had been previously given a trespass warning on that location, and then she was arrested and taken into custody. The state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond, which the defendant has already set on this case. And that is because of her repeated refusal to comply with the orders of the court that she stay away from that location. We're also asking that she stay away from Tacos El Gallo, located at 387 Cleveland Avenue, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state.
Ms. Rosenhuber?
Yes, Your Honor. While we understand the state's concerns, I am still asking for a signature bond. Ms. Lowe is 57 years old. She made it to the 8th grade. She's unemployed. She doesn't have anywhere to stay. We believe that there are also MH issues, Your Honor, and she's not able to make any bond. So I can only ask for a signature bond today.
$1,000 surety bond. Next court date's August 8th. Stay away from Tacos El Gallo at 387 Cleveland Avenue, Southwest Atlanta. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and to comply with any MH treatment and medication. Thank you. All right, I think we have concluded with courtroom 2. Would that be accurate?
Yes, so we have the 2 waivers.
Waivers,
Okay. 3 and 7.
Answered. Mamadou Diallo is accused of 2 counts of willful obstruction of an officer from December 14th, 2023, case 24 CR 5187H. Mr. Diallo's presence has been waived, and I believe.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I did not waive either of their presence.
Oh, okay.
I
So
did
is
not.
that
They
your
wanted-
client?
Yes, Your Honor. I know they wanted not to be waived, but I, just based on some experiences in the past, I don't waive my clients unless the deputies ask me to. So,
Okay. So have you had a chance to speak with him at all?
yes, Your Honor.
And he has, both you and he have agreed not to waive his presence?
He wanted to waive it, but I will not waive it.
Oh, okay. And have we got something in writing from him that he wants to waive his presence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so
Neither of them.
I don't have anything expressly waiving his appearance, so we're gonna reset it to Monday at 2 p.m. This will not be a Riverside issue. Deputy, it appears that Mr. Diallo, in order for me to waive his presence, he must place that in writing.
I never waived them.
I'm sorry?
Can we ask for the deputies to pull them, because I never waived it? And I hate for him to sit in there on until Monday on a criminal trespass from 20,
Well, he said he wasn't coming because he wanted to waive, so came forcing him to
it's
come.
not up to him.
Well, it's up to him whether he stays in jail until he comes to jail voluntarily. So no, I'm not going to compel him to come up. When he's ready and willing, or if he wants to put something in writing on a piece of paper, I waive my appearance and hand that to the deputy so that we can file it, then I'll definitely be able to address the case. But right now, he's going to enjoy the luxury of Hotel Rice Street, and we
Hilton
will
Suites.
see him. Yes, and we will see him on Monday, July 29th at 2 p.m. The
Okay,
next case.
I'm gonna waive them.
Position number 7 was supposed to be on a waiver as well, but we was not aware that she did not waive the cases, so we took them back to housing.
All right, let me just ask, Michael Hartsfield, same situation, Ms. Melnick?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so, if Mr. Hartsfield would like to waive his presence, make sure he puts that in writing so that we can file that with the case, and we will see him also on July 29th at 2 p.m. This is not a Riverside issue.
Right.
All right.
But just in the future, I mean, I wish that going forward, we
Yeah,
could handle it differently.
I'm sorry?
Going forward, I just wish we could handle it differently, you know, and just,
I wish to also, but unless they show up or, All right, Deputy, I think, I'm just gonna go over the calendar. Position 1, Edelman is a 1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. And, but he's got did I do a signature bond through pretrial? Yeah, I did.
Yes,
But he's
ma'am.
got an open case as well, but he's got a bench warrant on that. So,
This should have been his first arrest. I wasn't
no,
aware
no,
of.
no, no, he's good, he's good, I'm sorry. Got the information on the other one, so he's good, signature bond through pretrial. Position 2, Eric Cook is a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. Position 3, Diallo is reset to July 29th. Position 4, Eads is a $3,000 split bond, reset August 8th. Position 5, Griggs is a 1,500 surety, reset August 8th. Position 6, Hare is a 2,000 surety, reset August 8th. Position 7 is reset to July 29th. Position 8, Haywood is a 1,500 surety, reset August 8th. 9, Johnson's a 2,000 surety, reset August 8th, but with a release to Clayton County hold. Keno, position 10 is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge. 11, Low is a $1,000 surety, reset August 8th. 12, Middlebrooks is a $5,000 surety, reset August 8th. Ponder is a $3,000 surety, reset August 8th. 14, St. Hilaire is a 3,500 surety, reset August 8th. And then I have position 15, Trip, and that is a 2,500 surety, reset August 8th, along with another open case. 16, Waxes a 2,500 surety, reset August 8th. And 17, Williams is a $2,000 surety, reset August 8th. All right, folks, I will see everyone next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and try to get some sleep between watching the Olympics, okay? Take care.
Definitely.
Thank you,
Did
Jen.
y'all
Thank
watch
you.
it yesterday?
Miss Champion,
Oh, all right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the two that were reset for Monday? I just want to send a message